Hello and welcome to the RacingBet preview for another day, really. We were only here a couple of days ago, but we're here with our 2021 Melbourne Cup special. I'm your host, Tim Geers, joined by Trent, Crebbin, as I always am. And for the Melbourne Cup special, we welcome in the Billy from the bush, Billy Bestford, for the first time. How are you, mate?
Good, boys. Thanks for having me. Looking forward to a good show.
And this show is brought to you by tab.com.au, who are supporting us throughout the Spring Carnival. So make sure if you are having a bet for this year's Melbourne Cup, you do it on tab.com.au. Trent, another good day on Saturday for you at Flemington to kick off the Melbourne Cup Carnival on Derby Day. Plenty of winners and plenty of good value for those that have subscribed or signed up to the premium channel on our Discord. You threw out another long price winner during the week from the early markets. Menage, I think you threw it out at $9. It started $3.80 and won. Another good day of results for you, mate.
Yeah, it was. We started off a little bit slowly and really came home strong, finding Superstorm, Home Affairs, and Minhaj as well, like you said, at the early price. So good to carry in a little bit of momentum heading into Cup Day, and can't wait to get stuck in.
Yeah, we'll just take a quick look at some of the results we have had from the early, the first couple of weeks from the premium section. On our Discord, of course, you started off things, Trent, with Jonker in the Manicato there. That was $12 into $6 on the night, or at least from when you put the selection out, it was $12. Started $6 and got the money. Menage, as we spoke about at Flemington there on the weekend, $9, started $3.80. We had a couple of good results in the West yesterday at Ascot. We threw out God Has Chosen, $2.70. Basically, as soon as the markets came out on Wednesday or Thursday, we got straight on God Has Chosen as our best bet of the day. I'm standing by for the photo finish, but I'm pretty sure it won by 3 or 4 lengths. And Elite Street, well, he's just returned in super form. We got on him as soon as markets came out in the Prince of Wales Stakes there at Ascot, $3. He started $1.75. We did have a small deduction there for Miss Conteki, who came out, so we ended up with about $2.70. Backed into $1.75 and literally never, ever looked like losing. And Billy, you even chimed into the action. You threw out Kiss Some at healthy odds of around $15 and got the money there in Sydney, was it?
Yeah, it was in Sydney. It was in the 4 Pillars. So that was a nice ride up the rail from my man, Jason collecting all the time.
He just loves it. He just loves hugging the rail, Doesn't go around a single runner. So if you are interested, we do have the 7-day free trial still on offer for Melbourne Cup week. So head to racingbet.com.au, head to the premium tips section of the website, and it's all in detail there of how you can sign up to the RacingBet Discord group. You can join for free. We've got a free community there, just a general community, nothing to pay there. But if you are interested in a little bit more value, our early bets, some extra information, I suppose, than what normally goes up on the website, then join, and hopefully we provide a little bit of additional value for very little cost. So get involved for Melbourne Cup week. You've got the silver, gold, or platinum packages which you can sign up for, and we'll be hopefully helping you out through Melbourne Cup week with plenty more winners. And as soon as the markets go up for some early bets around the country. If you've got any thoughts to add to tonight's show, if you've got any questions about a runner that we haven't covered, or if you've got any any thoughts on any runner or any questions, make sure you do comment wherever you're watching, YouTube, Twitter, or Facebook. Send in your comments, and they'll pop up for us here, and we can feature them through the show as we go. We've already got a couple coming in. Graham saying, hi, guys. Heath commenting saying, cute how you guys all wore matching T-shirts. Yeah, we chatted about that before we came on and said we have to be in matching costume. Not really. And Graham saying, I'll join when INCENTIVISE wins the Cup. Sounds good, Graham. Well, we're going to talk about INCENTIVISE and each and every runner in this year's Melbourne Cup throughout the course of the show. So stay tuned with us. And as I said, if you've got any questions or anything we don't cover, then make sure you do fire in a question. Now, what I love about Melbourne Cup Day is that racing at Flemington starts at 7:45 a.m. over here in the West. You basically wake up, have your brekkie, and the first race at Flemington's been run. So it's a cracking day. I'll start with you, Trent. Give us your thoughts on how you think the track's going to play, because obviously we've had Derby Day. We move on to Cup Day. So how did it play on Derby Day, and how do you expect it to play on Melbourne Cup Day?
Yeah, it played perfectly on Derby Day. You could win from almost anywhere. They used all of the track. Look, thinking probably similar again. It's going to be quite hot. I think it's going to be about 28 degrees, so it'll be upgraded to a good 3 quite quickly, I would assume, during the day. Definitely by the Melbourne Cup will be on a good 3. So they should, they should be running good times, and it should allow the best horses to win on the day. So not too concerned about the track at this stage.
All right. Now, for those who are tuning in and might not know Billy as well as myself or Trent, we've been doing this a while, but this is the first show Billy's joined. Billy, give the viewers there at home a little bit about yourself, what you like, where your kind of main jurisdiction is, what you like when you're trying to find a bet, and just how you go about it.
Yeah. So, well, I guess
You're a Sydney boy, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm in Sydney, so I primarily do most of the form here in Sydney. Obviously, we were saying before, I've had a bit more success actually, sort of away from the main city meetings down here in New South Wales, which is, I don't know, I find I watch a lot of replays and do my form through a lot of it through the eye, a lot of trials and that sort of thing, and trust my sort of eye more than anything else. And I find that's probably all you got to do when you're having a punt is you back yourself. And so that's pretty much what I do.
Very good. But you do keep your eye over the Melbourne form.
Right? So I'm obviously doing best bets here and there for.
You're a bit of a specialist of everywhere, eh?
Yeah, so
doesn't matter where.
Yeah, I sort of keep an eye everywhere, and I'm obviously tipping in Melbourne as well most weekends. So I try to keep up to as much racing as possible, but do my best. Very
good. All right. Well, we've got 24 runners to get through in this year's Melbourne Cup. As I said, this show brought to you by tab.com.au. Why don't we start with a speed map? And Trent, I'll pass to you because you've provided your speed map of the race, and I'll try and throw this up on screen as you go along and tell us what you think.
Yeah, so it should be a pretty good speed. Potentially not as fast as last year where they went out very hard, but I think Twilight Payment led and won last year. He's Jordan Barrier 2 here. Potentially kicks up to hold the front again. Knight's Order will come across with Grand Promenade drawn out wide. Whether he ends up 3 wide or he ends up crossing and something takes a sit, I'm not sure at this time. Incentivize is going to roll forward with him and just try and find some cover just behind the speed. Floating Artist gets a nice map from Barrier 10.
I'm just tweeting as we go. Sorry, boys. Yeah, back to your speed map.
Floating Artist, Incentivize, like I said, just behind the speed. Charlie Rose, I think, can follow Incentivize from Barrier 12. Then you're back to the likes of PERSAN. I think Spanish Mission will just end up lobbing somewhere midfield with cover. I think Very Elegant won't want to be as far back as she was in last year's race, but she does draw 19. So I think they'll be just neutral on her and trying to find a spot just worse than midfield. And then, you're back to a few that don't have too much of a chance. I think Sir Lucan, one of the imports, is going to have to go a fair way back and will be closer to last. So that's what I've got the map looking like. Obviously, that can change on the day, but hopefully that's about right.
I was trying to share the photo file, not the entire screen, so I've done well while we're going here. Dylan says, Billy, the best Sydney country tipper in the country. #back Billy. Yeah, we call him Billy from the bush because he's lethal in the bush in Sydney, or in New South Wales, I should say. There he was. Where were you tipping winners? Yesterday? The day before?
Where were we? I think we were at Wagga possibly the other day.
Wagga. That rings a bell.
But no, thanks for that, Dylan. I'll send you that case of beer later.
And Anthony says, Billy looks like the Bond. There's worse comparisons.
I've got a lot worse. I'll take that. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's positive. That's good. All right. Let's bring up a market from tab.com.au if I can get it up. Trent, Incentivize early favourite, $2.70. About right? Over the odds? Under the odds?
I think about right, to be honest. $2.70. I think that's almost exactly what I've got him. I'm not sure what the market's going to do with him. I've seen plenty of people in different camps. What has happened in his last couple, especially in the Caulfield Cup, he drifted kind of during the day, and then the last 10 minutes or so in his races, he's been really well backed. I think he was kind of out to 270 in the Caulfield Cup, and in the last 10, 15 minutes, he was smashed back into 230 or so.
Yeah.
So it'll just be interesting to see if that does happen again. I think there'll definitely be a lot of people looking to take him on, and you might see $3 during the day, and then maybe he does come back in a little bit later. But I think 270 is about right.
All right. Well, let's bring up this market, as I said, from tab.com.au. He's out to $2.80 as we speak. $2.80 for Incentivise. Spanish Mission, of course, with the lameness queries, is now a $9 chance. Looks like those are the only two in single figures. So you've got $2.80, $9. You're out to Very Elegant at $13. The Twilight Payment, of course, last year's winner at $12. And basically big odds the rest. Grand Promenade, 16. Tralee Rose, 16. Floating Artist, 16. And more than 20 to 1 the rest. Is there anything in that market? I know we're going to get into the comments of every runner in a second, but is there anything in the market as it stands that really screams off the page as something that's over the odds or value?
For me, no. To be honest, I don't think there's anything that you want to go, all right, this is something I need to be on early. But I think we can, once you dive a little bit deeper, you can kind of pick apart a few holes in the market. I think there should be horses that should be a lot longer than what they are that have no chance, but nothing that I'm really keen to dive in early.
Steve Edwards saying, is Billy Jackson Hastings? Is that the cricketer?
I think he's a footy player.
Oh, is he?
Possibly. But yeah, I'm not that talented, so.
Daryl saying, I think Trent's the best Melbourne tipper. Do I get a case of beer as well? No, but you can send one over here to Perth, and I'll take it. I'll take whatever beer you want to send. Now, Trent.
Yes.
A little bit about the Melbourne Cup. All right. Now, if you wanted to find previous winners of the Melbourne Cup, every single winner going back, I don't even know how long. I'll tell you how long. Back to 1861, and you wanted to know what horse it was, what jockey rode it, what the trainer was, what age it was, sex, barrier, starting price, weight, and even the winning time. Where could you find it? Why don't you ask me?
You find that on racingbet.com.au, I would assume.
Yeah, you absolutely can. So if you want all these details or something, history of the Cup, head to racingbet.com.au and you can find it all there. You can see it's in a nice table here, 2020, all the way back to 1861 when the race was won by Archer, ridden by Jay Cutts. Drew Barry was a 5-year-old stallion, carried 60.5 kilos and ran 3 minutes and 52 seconds. All the details every single year. You can go to racingbet.com.au and it's all there for you. Okay. And I live by this stuff kind of religiously. Trent, we always speak about, how infatuated I am with stats and patterns and history of races. If you need any information on the Cup, make sure you go to racingbet.com.au. We've got it all there. Dylan Gomez saying rugby, I think.
Yeah, I think he's a league player.
Billy Hastings. Yeah, well, that's why I've got no idea, because over here in WA, rugby doesn't exist. I don't know if you guys realise that, but we have no idea about rugby. And Anthony saying a lot of donkeys in the field this year, boys. Yep. Well, let's get straight into it, Anthony. We'll get through all 24 runners, and we can tell you and try and separate the donkeys from those that aren't the donkeys. All right. Number 1, Twilight Payment. Last year's Melbourne Cup winner. He led throughout. He carries top weight this year of 58 kilos, I think.
Yep. 58.
Yep. 58. So, Trent, where did you have him on the speed map? I was preoccupied. Leading again, or from barrier 2, do they take a sit this year?
I think he probably can lead if they want to. It'll just depend if something like Knights Order or Grand Promenade out wide wants to really cross, and then he'll end up leaders back. But I've got him leading for the first bit anyway, and we'll just see if anything wants to take him on.
So as I mentioned, led throughout last year. 58 kilos a big ass this year. You don't often see Melbourne Cup winners carrying 58 kilos. But if you go to your table on racingbet.com.au and see what weights all the horses carried, the last horse to carry anything near it was Maccabi Diva, 2005, third Melbourne Cup, 58 kilos. She was pretty good. Is he that good? Is he good enough to carry 58? He is flying.
He's not as good as Maccabi Diva. He is going really well, even as a 9-year-old. That'd be another stat for you, how many 9-year-olds have won the race. I think he's going just as well as last year. It's 0, is it? There we go. Yep. Like I said, I think he's going just as well as last year. He's coming off very similar runs. He's had an almost identical prep. 2 starts go at the Curragh, beat a very handy staying mare called Princess Zoe. Look, the weight is the query, 58 kilos. And also, I think he probably sets up a little bit differently this year. Last year, he was kind of able to lead and dictate. Yes, he did it at a fast pace, but this year, I think there's going to be more actual horses around him and more pressure. For that reason, I'm not with him. But do concede he's a very good winning chance. Thoughts?
Yeah. With Twilight Payment, I thought he was probably a winning chance. You guys covered it off. I think the weight's the big issue, but I think he's probably going as good as he was leading into last year. And you'd probably argue that this year is a weaker race outside of obviously Incentivize.
Yep.
And the O'Brien stable is clearly going pretty well at the moment. They've obviously just won the Cox. So I think, yeah, he can run well. And I wouldn't be surprised if he runs top 4.
Yeah, I've got him certainly as a chance. I actually got a good result out of him last year, I think.
Yeah, we both backed him, Tim.
58 kilos.
Yeah.
Hey?
We both had him as the value in that race.
Yeah. At $12, he's not the value that he was last year, obviously. I think he's going to run well. Like, the horse is flying. You guys have covered it. The horse is flying. Joseph O'Brien, he's already trained, I think, 2 Melbourne Cups and a Cox Plate. Barrier 2 gives him absolutely every chance. And in the grand scheme of things, yeah, with I suppose not a vintage field this year. I certainly think, I reckon he's probably, top 6 chance. I just think the weight's the obvious issue, is probably going to weigh him down. But yeah, he's absolutely flying.
I think $12 looks short enough.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, if you consider that he started, 30 to 1 last year or something?
Yeah,
$12 this year, carrying an extra 2.5 kilos, especially with a horse like Incentivize in the field. I think he's, well and truly short enough for around $12. Comment coming through. Is there a reason William Pike doesn't ride over in Victoria for big races? Yes, there's been this thing called COVID, and we have a premier in WA who is against the rest of Australia. Like him or hate him, he has shut our borders basically. So if he was to go and ride in Victoria, he would basically have to quarantine for 2 weeks over here, or at least that's been the case for the best part of a year. And he did it during the autumn. Was it the autumn or last spring or both? Yeah, I think he did it during the autumn, and he basically had to quarantine both ways for a couple of weeks, I think. So we've got our carnival.
He came over and he absolutely cleaned up over here, I think.
Yeah, exactly. You're right. He rode those 4 winners in the day, Caulfield Guineas Day. But yeah, like after that, he had to quarantine for 2 weeks. And with our carnival starting over here in 2 weeks, if he was going to go and ride in the Cup, he'd probably have to forego riding in the railway over here. So when you're kind of under contract with Bob Peters and steering around his Ferraris every week, I'm sure one day when all this blows over and the borders are all sweet, he'll definitely be over there riding in the Melbourne Cup. But for now, I think it's too big of a not necessarily a risk, but too big of an ask for him to quarantine with our carnival coming up over here. So that's probably why he's not over there at this stage. All right, let's move on to horse number 2 in the race, the favourite, Incentivize. Well, where do we start with him? He's going for his 10th straight win. Comes off a win in the Caulfield Cup, which was just freakish, Trent. He's just handled everything that's been thrown at him so far since coming to since coming to Victoria. Of course, his first start in Victoria, he won the Mackay Diva. He then went to the Turnbull, cleaned up there, and then went to the Caulfield Cup and did this. Cop's 57 kilos. He's going to have to be good.
And he is good. I think the best part about this Caulfield Cup win, he did it the tough way. He was wide for a lot of the race. He was on a good tempo. And you go back and look at the sectionals of the race. He's the fastest last 600, 400, 200 meters of the race, which just seems crazy considering he was up on top of that good speed and still kicking clear and was pretty soft on the line as well. So I don't have any query with him at 3,200 meters based on how strong he's just keeps going so strongly through the line in both his starts and can do it off fast tempos. Obviously, the weight, he's up to 57. I think that's probably fair. The 1.5 kilo penalty from the Caulfield Cup, I think that's about what he deserved. I like the draw for him, barrier 16. No problem with that at all. He can just he's got about 600 meters or so to work across and get into a good spot. He can probably land maybe even one out, one back, or just a pair further back than that. And, he's going to take a power of beating from there. He's clearly the horse to beat for mine. And if he does what he did in the Caulfield Cup, I think he's going to be the winner.
Graham saying, does Incentivize prefer a good 4 rather than a good 3 if you were Preble, where do you want to position him? Billy?
Look, for a horse like him, I think good 3 or good 4, probably not going to make too much of a difference. Especially he'll be up on speed. I think Preble, ideally, as Trent would said, would probably want to slot in just in behind the speed if he can. Use that early speed out wide and track something throughout the race. I mean, he's probably going to be able to slot in behind like Twilight Payment. And he should see a pretty good run in the race, I would think.
Yep. Trent, you agree?
Yeah, I've got no issues with them on a good 3. He was winning up in Queensland at Eagle Farm, which was rated a good 4, but the Eagle Farm track's closer to a firm 2 half the time, so no issues for me there.
All right, $2.80 with tab.com.au, as I said. Look, I have him on top. I'll explain a little bit more when we get to the next horse, but I struggle to see them beating him, but I don't really want to dive in at $2.80. Just the Melbourne Cup. Like, there's so many kind of unknowns with the Melbourne Cup, especially carrying 57 kilos, first go 3,200. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I've got him on top. He's clearly the horse to beat, but just if you haven't already backed him, I wouldn't be being desperate to dive into $2.80.
I think Trent mentioned it before. I think he'll drift. And then probably see the money again late. So yeah, if you're gonna have a bet, probably wait till the day, and he might become more of a betting proposition. Yeah,
really good point. All right, let's move on. Horse number 3, Spanish Mission, and what I was alluding to there is that I've got a 30-1 ticket riding on Spanish Mission. After I'll pop up the replay in a second. He's second to Stradivarius in the Goodwood Cup. Is Stradivarius' fourth one?
It was one of the races. It was one of the races at Goodwood.
Yeah, so I've got a ticket riding at 30-1 on Spanish Mission, so you can only imagine my pain throughout the week when this horse has had all sorts of lameness queries. Failed 2 vet tests, I think, passed his 3rd vet test to accept for the race, so he'll be there on Tuesday. This is a proper horse, like proper horse. As I said, ran a very, very narrow defeat to Spanish Mission, this race here. To Stradivarius. Stradivarius is a 4-time Goodwood Cup winner. He is like one of the best stays just about ever to race. First up last prep, he ran second in a 3,000 metre race in Dubai, I think. It's just those lameness groups. Like, if he was here on 100% fit, I would be backing him, especially now at $9. If you hadn't already backed him at 30-1 immediately after this race, like I did. Trent, what do we do with Spanish Mission? As I said, obviously he's a proper horse.
Yeah, he is. He's got some really good form lines. I think he's got, he does have better form lines from my understanding of international races, which I do have a little bit of an idea about, over the likes of Twilight Payment. What I will say is I think the second to Stradivarius is being a touch overplayed. Stradivarius is a lot past his best that he was a couple of years ago. Like, you go back to his Ascot Gold Cups a couple of years ago where he was winning by 10 lengths or so. Since then, he's been beaten, I think, more than roughly half of his starts kind of then. And he's not racing as well. Having said that, he's still at one of the best days in the world.
He also came out of that race and absolutely destroyed his opposition in his very next start.
Yes.
He came out and won at Doncaster straight after it by 2.5 lengths. So...
I think
he's a very good horse
in a weaker race, and then he's gone on to a couple of Group 1s and been beaten. But the other thing I want to make about with Spanish Mission with the lameness issue, it's not exactly a lameness issue that he's had. He's had a skin infection or an infection below his skin, and he's just had a little bit of swelling because of that. It's not as if he's something injured or he's sore because of any kind of worries like that you had with Gold Trip. In the Cox Plate. So I think that's all healed, and it's more it took him a couple of days to get over that infection and be okay. So I wouldn't be super concerned about the lameness or the vet checks. I think he just had to recover from that, and he's okay. I'm not really sure what to do with him though, to be honest. He's a world-class day, he's very good. I think he's not exactly the right profile for a Melbourne Cup horse. Like, we've seen these international raiders come over They're often the younger horses right down in the weights and beat the handicapper. I don't think he's done that. And I also think that he doesn't really have a turn of foot. He's a real 2-miler, 4,000 meter grinding stayer. And if he's giving a horse like Incentivize 4 or 5 lengths and Incentivize is able to kind of use his turn of foot and sprint clear, he might just be grinding home into second or third. So I'm not really sure what to do with him, but he's an obvious winning chance. He's probably the main danger. And, if you're on at 30-1, good luck to you.
Yeah, I think, my biggest concern is obviously those vet checks. It's never ideal, any sort of leg issue or whatever it is, and especially with sort of the imports especially. So I'm probably against him just in terms of that. And the other thing, as Trent mentioned, obviously Incentivize is probably going to be a few lengths ahead of him in the run. And I just don't know if he's got that turn of foot to catch him.
Fair enough. Dylan saying slam the futures after that race too, was also on him when Strad pipped him. That's a bit brutal. Steve posting, there's no value in the race if Incentivize wins. What's your thoughts on having, say, $50 at $3 and then 3 times $10 or $25 bets? If so, what is the best 3 outside him? I think he means there's no value in the race if Incentivize wins. So how about having $50 on Incentivize at $3 and then basically having 3 other $25 bets on some other runners?
Yeah, I'd be having something on DELPHI, Very Elegant maybe, and honestly I think Floating Artists can probably run a hole if you're looking for some big value.
Yeah, we'll get to those other runners as we go. Good point here coming through from Graham. He says, 6 weeks ago, I listened to his trainer on, I think he means Bensley. He said his only worry was his long season and that he's been on the go for a while. The trainer also said Spanish Mission is well-travelled, but it's been a long season. Good point. Good point. It's going to be so fascinating how he runs. Like I said, I reckon he's the best horse in the race, I think. But he's got a couple of hurdles to overcome. George Moore posting, I wouldn't be worried about lameness issues, but I would be worried about the treatment, antibiotics. They can knock a horse about and you won't know until the pressure goes on. Another good point.
Good point.
Yep.
And George saying, of course, I'm talking about Spanish Mission. Okay, let's move on to the next runner, which is horse number 4, Very Elegant. For me, disappointing in the Turnbull. Don't think there's any arguments there when she started $2.10 favourite against Incentivize. Of course, he won that. She was good in the Cox Plate, like you mentioned earlier, Trent.
She was. She covered more ground than Animo in State of Rest, went back and kind of circled the field. Look, I thought that was a really good run. And you go back to her run in this race last year, she got back a long way, and she was just left with too much chasing to do. She was probably about 20 lengths off them at some point. So whether she's going as well this time in, she's probably maybe a length below her best. Last year she was coming off the Caulfield Cup win over Anthony Van Dyke and went into it maybe with a better preparation under her belt. This time in, she was kind of targeted at the Cox Plate, and maybe the Melbourne Cup's just a somewhat of an afterthought, or they were just hoping that she pulled up okay and they put her in now that she's come through it okay. She has to carry 57 kilos, which is one for the history is not easy to do as a mare. I think Maccabi Diva would be the only one to have ever done it. Last year, I think she carried 55.5. She's going to strike another good 3 track like she did last year, which is obviously not her ideal conditions. But like you said, probably strikes a slightly weaker race this year. And yeah, she was well beaten by Incentivize in the Turnbull, but she did start favourite over him. So the market was telling you that she's, as good a chance in that race, and she didn't perform up to her best. So if you forgive that and, go off her Cox Plate run and go off that starting price profile, then she has to be some chance in this.
Yeah, I think she's one of the few who at her best can beat Incentivize, I think. She's a genuine sort of Group 1 star. I mean, she wins over any sort of trip, and I think she's building in the right direction to sort of run a big race here. Getting J-Mac back on is a big positive for her as well, I think. And yeah, I'm banking on the fact that she can probably find her best, and if Incentivize is off, I think she can run him down.
Okay, I take your points. She's got absolutely no hope of winning this race, everyone. Put a line through Very Elegant. She's not going well enough. She carries too much weight here. She's none. Now, I know we spent a bit of time on the first four. The first four horses. We'll skip through some of the horses that don't have much chance at all, so we won't be here all night. But no, I'm serious. I don't have a place for Very Elegant. I'm taking her on. Yep, take all your points. I thought her running the Cox Plate was good as well. But barrier 19, she's going to get a long, long way back. 57 kilos over 3,200. I can't have her, sorry. Horse number 5, Explosive Jack. The dual derby winner. Has he come up this preparation? I don't think he's going well enough, but Ma Eustace, do they have him going well enough?
Yeah, it's hard to doubt my Eustace John Allen, the hottest combo at the moment. Look, I thought he was building into his prep nicely. I thought his run in the Maccabi Diva and Turnbull were both solid building runs looking to this, but then he was just awful in the Caulfield Cup. I'm not really sure what to make of that. This has been his grand final. Wouldn't shock to see him improve out to 2 miles and at Flemington. But I think he probably lacks a little bit of class, and it'd be a big turnaround.
Yeah, not for me. I don't think he's any chance.
Yep. All right, horse number 6, The Chosen One. Very good run behind Delphi in the Herbert Power Stakes. He's running this race twice before. He ran 17th 2 years ago, and then he ran 4th last year. Caulfield Cup run has to be a query, though, and he carries basically the same weight as he did in last year's race when he ran 4th. But, yeah, how did you assess that Caulfield Cup run, Trent?
Yeah, I thought it was a little bit disappointing. He had every chance in the run. He was beaten a long way. I think maybe he's potentially looking for a firmer track. I think he's probably best on a good track. And, he ran 4th in this race last year. Again, he had every chance there. I think that's as best as that he could hope for, even if he was coming to this in his best form, which he's probably not. So, not the worst chance on his best form, but I'm happy enough to be against.
Yeah, I think if you look at that run 2 back, I think it was in the Herbert Power, he was very good. And if you were just looking on that run alone, you could probably, finish top 6 maybe. But that Caulfield Cup run was so bad, and there was no real excuses for it. So I don't know if he's going that good.
Well, you spoke of the Herbert Power. We'll play it over the top now because we're getting to the winner of that race, which is Delphi. He won this race. He then backed up in the Caulfield Cup and was terrible. But, is it as simple as just saying he just didn't handle the quick backup? I think he's a huge chance off what he was doing prior to that race.
Yeah, I agree. He potentially didn't back up there. That's what Damien Oliver seemed to think, that he just raced a bit flat. If you go off this Herbert Power win, which I thought was really good, and you also go off that he was well backed and started $5.50 second favourite to Incentivize in the Caulfield Cup, and now he's $21 or so. He was a little bit bigger price earlier today as well, I think. So I think he's been backed a little bit. Gets another soft run here, barrier 3. I don't think he'll be right up on speed. I think they'll ride him a touch more conservatively. And he's still very lightly raced in some of his form overseas. He beat the likes of Twilight Payment, who almost won this race a couple of years ago. I think he has to be considered a chance. It's probably about his right price now for mine at $21 though.
Yeah, Delphi was one that I mentioned before, if you're going to have $10 on a bet, I think you could probably have something on him. I don't think he handled that. It was only a soft 6, I think, in the Caulfield Cup, but I don't think he handled it that well. And I think going through his form, he's a much better dry tracker. So I think he's going to get conditions to suit. Obviously, he draws well. And if you go back through his form, he beat, I think it was Master of Reality in the Irish Main Ledger, who obviously almost won this race a couple of years ago. So I think he's good enough, and he gets conditions to suit. And I think I'll have something on him just as a small bet.
Yep, completely agree, Billy. Like I said, 53.5, DL of getting down to the weight again. Yeah, I think forgive him for the Caulfield Cup and what he was doing prior to that makes him. I love his profile. I just think he profiles really well for this race. So if you can forgive his Caulfield Cup run, I definitely have something on him here. Callum saying, think the race is between the top 3 in the market. Can't see anything else getting into it. And George saying, I think Very Elegant is a really good bet. She has huge overs. When she ran 4th to Incentivize, they found her blood wasn't right. She had a great excuse. Interesting to know. Yeah. You make a good case, George. I think Trent's in your corner and I'm against you. Also, he says, also her run in the Cox Plate was the run of the race. Her run in last year's Cup was by far the best in that race, and now she has J-Mac back on. Both good points, but you've got to take something on, and she's going to be the one I'm taking on. I think the boys are in your corner more so than mine. All right, horse number 8 is Ocean Billy, Chris Waller, Damien Thornton. He's only had the one start in Australia. He's a former Kiwi. He was only fair in the Caulfield Cup, would you say? But second run for Waller. Who knows what Waller could do with this horse? Not good enough for mine.
Yeah, he wants 2 miles. He's a winner of the Auckland Cup, but I just don't think that's good enough. He beat your home sound by a couple of lengths, and we've seen that horse come out and, he's more of a Group 3, Group 2 horse. So he'll stay the trip, but not good enough.
Yeah, I mean, I love the name. That's a super name for that horse. But he'd probably have to turn his form around by about 30 lengths to win this race, which I don't.
You know why they called him? You know why they call him Ocean Billy?
Why?
That's exactly where he belongs, in the sea. Flynn saying DELPHI by 4 lengths minimum.
Yeah, that's probably not. I wouldn't go that far, but
it's a bold statement.
I wouldn't mind it, seeing as I'm on 80 to 1, but
yeah.
All right, next horse, the Sydney Cup winner, Selino, Chris Waller as well. The interesting thing I picked up from his form when I was just going through it is that he won the Sydney Cup at his 5th start last preparation after 4 very ordinary runs. So it's no surprise that he comes into this year's Melbourne Cup at his 5th run of the prep after 4 pretty ordinary runs. Much better on firm tracks, I think, and I think Waller's going to have him spot on. I think he's definite top 10 chance. What price are we getting? 50 to 1 with tab.com.au. I don't know what he'd be in like a top 10 market. But Trent, I think you share the same sort of thoughts as I do.
Yeah, I think you'll probably get longer than 50 to 1, to be honest. I think you'll get closer to 100 to 1. You'll probably get $3 to $4 for a top 10 market. And I think that's probably a pretty good play. He also, last start Caulfield Cup, he doesn't handle soft tracks. So I think you can just put a pen through that run. Start before, he was only beaten 2 lengths by Grand Promenade, carrying 58 kilos in the Bart Cummings, which I thought was an excellent run. That was on a good track, or close to it, very close to a good 4 by that time of the day. And like I said, he's going to stay the trip. He's already won over 2 miles, gets conditions to suit. He's going to get a long way back, but I think he's going to be passing a fair few late, and I reckon he can sneak into the top 10.
Yeah, I think he started 200 to 1 in the Caulfield Cup. So I think he should probably be 50 to 1 looks too short. And he's going to be way out the back, isn't he, from that draw? So, no, I don't think he can win. But, yeah, top 10 possibly.
Top 10 market on tab.com.au currently has Selino $2.75. Thoughts on that?
Yeah,
price?
I think you'll probably get $3, and that's probably fair enough, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So if you're betting, that's probably the way we would go with Selino. Okay. Next horse, Johnny Get Angry, the VRC Derby winner. God bless him for lining up in this field. He can do whatever he wants. As we said on the previous show ahead of Derby Day, this horse enters to stack when he won the Derby last year. So I'm all for him taking his spot here. He cannot win.
Yeah, he'll run bottom 4.
I might back him to run last if possible.
Is there a market for that as well?
I don't know.
No, I don't think they let you. I don't think they let you back something to run last. I think it's like an integrity issue if you think it's going to be injured or something.
That's potentially a good point.
It'd be close to favourite for that.
Yeah.
If you are interested in backing him to run the top 5, he's a $9 chance.
Oh, that's horrible. He should be 90 to 1 to run top 10.
There should be a 0 after that.
All right, another horse that looks up against it is Knight's Order. Blinkers off. He was ordinary in the Hotham on Saturday. Quick backup here on the Tuesday. I've got him as a can't win.
Yeah, I agree. He's not going well enough.
No.
PERSAN. Brave in the Caulfield Cup. He ran 5th in this race last year. How do you assess his chances? Drawn barrier 1153 kilos. The pre-race earmuff's gone for the first time. He's a $34 chance with tab.com.au. Like I said, he ran 3rd in the Caulfield Cup last start after settling on speed. Trent, your thoughts on PERSAN?
I think he probably lacks the absolute class to win a Melbourne Cup. You know, he's very good last year, running 5th. Good in the Caulfield Cup. First up run with 61 kilos at Flemington, 1,700 metres. Ran 3rd to Floating Artist, giving that horse 7 kilos. So, and that horse is $15 here. So I think he's a player. My used to have him primed for this. I'd have him as a rough top 5 hope. I'd be shocked if he got into a top 3, but top 5 maybe.
Yeah, I didn't think it was the worst. He ran a bottler in this last year, and that was on a long prep that started from him winning a maiden, I think. So he's obviously come a long way. He only gets that, only rises. I think he gets in pretty well at the weights, coming off that 3rd at the Caulfield Cup. So yeah, I think he can run top 5.
Yep. Okay. Now a horse that I probably think, just having a look at this top 10 market. We're moving on to CARIF, of course. $6 about CARIF to run top 10. I think he's a pretty decent bet. He won the Sandown Cup last year over this distance. This horse needs absolutely every bit of 3,200 metres. Like, just doesn't go a yard less than 3,000 metres. Much better on firm ground. I've got him as a horse that can feature. Like I said, I don't think he's going to win the race, obviously, but he's a $126 chance with tab.com.au. But I thought with 52.5, like he's a horse, like I said, half the battle in this race is horses that run 3,200 metres. I think he's a horse that's definitely, well, he obviously runs 3,200 metres. He's had 2 starts at the distance for a win and a 2nd placing. And like I said, better on firm ground. So, yeah, interested in your thoughts here, boys.
He's not going nearly as well as what he was leading into that Sandown Cup. And also in that last prep, he also ran 2nd, 2 Knight's Order, beaten 4.5 lengths over 2 miles in the Brisbane Cup. Look, I just don't think he's going well enough. His last 2, or especially his last start where he got to 2,400, was on a good track, and he was awful in a really weak race in Sydney. So I don't think he'll run top 10 just for the fact that I just don't think he's going nearly well enough. But like you said, he will stay the trip, but I can't see it happening.
Yeah, I think if he runs top 10, that'd be a pretty big effort, and you'd think Connection would be happy with that, but I think he's too slow.
Fair
That's it.
To put it lightly.
All right, let's move on to let's move on to Master of Wine. This is horse number 14, barrier 6, 52.5 kilos. Team Hawks, Fred Kersley. He's also a $126 chance, gets the tongue tie on for the first time. What's happened to this horse, and what's happened to the horses wearing these exact colours just suddenly forgetting how to jump out of the gates? Chautauqua, Master Crusader, Master of Wine.
Did you see Master Crusader on Saturday? He jumped better than anything.
Yeah, and look how he ran.
Yeah.
This horse just is making a habit of just missing the start or getting the start wrong. Ran 3rd in the Bart Cummings 2 starts ago behind Grand Promenade and TRALEE Rose, and then came out and did nothing in the Caulfield Cup. But who have we got? George is posting a few of his roughies that he's keen on, and he said Master of Wine goes well at Flemington, and the 200 to 1 they put up looks overs. Thoughts, boys?
I'd rather be with him than CARIF, because he's somewhere deep inside him. He's got at least enough talent to feature. He went into the Caulfield Cup last year as almost favourite, I think. Look, the run in the Bart Cummings was really good. I thought, kind of didn't have a whole lot of luck there either. Kind of snuck between runners and run really well. But he's just such an enigma. Sometimes he'll turn up, sometimes he won't. If he found his absolute best, which I don't think he will, it'd be a rough top 5 to top 10 hope. But he'd have to really show up, and I don't think he will.
Yeah, I mean, he promised plenty early on. He looked like he could be anything, but yeah, he's really gone downhill, and I think he'd probably have to improve 10 to 15 lengths to get anywhere near the top 3.
All right. Horse number 15. And this is one where I think this is probably my best value play in the race is Pondus. Just think he's ready. Like my initial thought when I saw the price and was doing the form was, how is he $31? It was good first up in the Bart Cummings. He was good last start with no cover in the Moonee Valley Vars. Now the query is how that form reference stacks up from Melbourne Cup. But he's third up, 52.5 kilos, drawn low. He's a European horse trained by Robert Hickmott, Team Williams. Ticks plenty of boxes for me, and I think at $31, I'll probably be having something on him.
Yeah, I thought he was a good kind of value play if you're looking that way, and I think he's a good exotics kind of horse for your trifecta's first 4s. Really good run in the Bart Cummings. First up, led at a really fast tempo. It was a really truly run race, and was only beaten 2.5 when probably not fully fit. I thought it was a little bit disappointing last start. I think he was my best of the day at Moonee Valley, and he was about $3.80 into $2.20. So the market wanted to be with him. I didn't think he had too many excuses other than that maybe he was just a little bit flat out of the Bart Cummings, and maybe just needed one more run to top him off. So like you said, he comes here third up. Barrier 1, he can probably land leaders back, maybe 3 back the fence. Rachel King down from Sydney to ride. I don't know if he can win, but I think he can definitely run top 5.
Yeah, I definitely think he goes in the exotics. He was coming along nicely, and then he sort of looked like he was traveling really well in that race at the Valley, and then he just, I don't know what happened. He sort of hit a wall and peaked. But yeah, so third up now, he'll run well. I just don't know how well he is traveling in Australia. I don't think he hasn't won here yet.
He should have won his first start in Australia at Bendigo. Jeez.
Yeah,
that was a huge run.
Well, I think he'll go in the exotics for me, but I mean, I don't know if he can beat him. Yeah,
that still stings, that Bendigo Cup defeat where he's checked to be basically last, flew home to be beaten and nosed by Princess Jenny. And then went to the Queen Elizabeth and got beat by your horse, Trent, True Self, who you were calling for her retirement.
I have no idea how
to be retired, and she came out and knocked off Pondus.
Yeah. Moving on.
Yeah, moving on. Definitely included in exotics. Horse number 16, Grand Promenade. Kieran Maher, David Eustace, Karen McAvoy. He knows a thing or two about winning Melbourne Cups. Drawn barrier 21, 52 kilos. He won the Bart Cummings a month ago to earn entry to the race. He's had 8 top 2 finishes from 9 starts this preparation. Is he the 2021 version of PERSAN?
He does profile very similarly, just having raced up through the winter through those staying races and then going to the Bart Cummings. I thought he was probably short enough here. I thought he got the run of the race in that Bart Cummings. It was a good win, but he's into around $15 or so now. This is obviously a big step up. He's got to get to the 2 miles again. The Maher Eustace team, they can train a stayer for sure. Drawn wide, I don't really see that as an issue. He'll just come across. He loves racing at Flemington. He's a definite kind of exotic soap. I just didn't think I wanted to be backing him at the price, and I'd want a bit longer to have him on side.
Yeah, at the price you mentioned earlier, Tim, you got to be against a couple, and I'm against this guy for sure. This is his first try in a Group 1, and I don't know if he's good enough. And yeah, $15 looks way too short for him, I thought.
Is he a top 5 chance at $2.80?
No.
Trent?
Yes, but I don't know if I'd be taking it.
Yeah, he just fit horse.
He's too consistent to run badly.
Yeah, that's like I said, 8 top 2 finishes from 9 starts, and the one he got beat was behind Nonconformist and DELPHI in the naturalism when he basically sat 3 wide the trip for half of it. So, yeah, if you were wanting to back him or play with him, I'd probably be backing him for top 5. But I'm not desperate to, not at $2.80.
Yeah.
All right, let's get on to Miami Bound. Horse number 17 gets the blinkers on for the first time, $126 with tab.com.au. Danny O'Brien, Paddy Maloney. Not good enough, I wouldn't have thought. Only fair this prep.
Yeah, not good enough, especially on a good track.
Yeah,
it would need it very wet to be a chance, and even then, she's probably not quite good enough. Happy to be against.
Callum saying, if anything is overs, it has to be Spanish Mission. How are we still getting $8? You're getting $8 because he's very long into a preparation and is coming off lameness queries 4 days before the race, probably. That'd be my guess, Callum. Boys, I agree, though. If you like him and you're happy to ignore that, then $8 or $9 for him, it's a great price. $31 is an even better price. So I'm with you, Callum. I'm praying.
Yeah, I think if
Fair
you
enough.
like Spanish Mission, you got to take that $9 or whatever he is. But
you could mark him shorter, couldn't you? Like you
Yeah,
could,
you could.
of what he is talent wise and coming off some of the best European form,
Yeah.
you could mark him a lot shorter. It's just that these, especially early markets, they don't. For these European horses, they often don't go up super short, and it'll be the big money that comes for him later. If this horse is $8 into $5 late,
Yeah.
he's going to run a huge
Get
race.
on. Yeah.
I think if you didn't have,
you'd
if
wanna-
you didn't have
you
those
just have to
lameness,
chop out on him.
without those lameness queries, he'd be $5. I think, to be honest, $6.
Yeah, you can understand my tears earlier in the week, can't you?
Yep.
Heartbreak saying Twilight Payment has this in the bag. Dollar signs. It'll be a big effort to carry 58 as a 9-year-old for sure, but he is going well. And George Moore is just he's just giving us all his thoughts. He says, I also backed a couple of roughies, Port Guillaume at 200-1. We're about to get onto him. He has given weight to Gold Trip and beat him and started favouring the Group 1 lead up to the Arc and run a great last 200 in the Caulfield Cup. It'd be great to have seen how Gold Trip would have gone in Australia, but unfortunately he is past lame in both Victoria and New South Wales. What do you reckon Grace Forbes and her team of vets at Racing Victoria just rubbing their hands together when he got past lame, or when he got
He didn't
assessed to be
get
lame?
past lame in Sydney.
He
They
was
scratched
scratched.
him. The stable scratched him because it was too firm. He
was
passed the
past
test.
Too firm.
PVL
Screams to me like the horse
wanted-
isn't
wanted him
right,
to
firm
race.
track, probably don't want to run him.
Yeah, it's a little bit sketchy.
And George continuing to say he's on the Chosen One at 70-1. He's on Master of Wine at 200-1. And he wouldn't want to back Incentivize unless it got to $4. He's by a Schnitzel stallion out of an Iglesia mare. Iglesia still owns the 1,200-metre Flemington record. That doesn't scream 2 miler to me. Class will get you 2,400, but it won't get you 2 miles if you can't stay. It's a great point.
Yeah,
And there are people who do their form basically taking breeding a lot to what they to how they assess the race. And like I said, half the battle's running 3,200 metres. So great points, George. And all will be found out come Tuesday. Okay, moving on to Port Guillaume, who is backed at 200-1. He's still $151 with tab. I wouldn't think he's going well enough this prep. And all 3 career wins have been on soft tracks. For the former French import, he's struggling since he's come to Australia, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's got quite a few soundness issues. So a good 3, I think, would be a query. Talent-wise, if you go back to 2020, he would be, a good hope in this just based on pure ability. But I just think he hasn't come up in Australia with these soundness issues and racing on firm tracks. So, look, I just can't see him turning it around enough on Tuesday to win this. But do take your points, George, that ability-wise, he's right in it.
Yeah, I think you look back through some of his UK form, and he's I think he was only a few lengths off Mishrif in a Group 1 over there, but I just don't know if he's going any good in Australia, and I don't like the map for him either.
All right, moving on to She's Ideal. Only fair in the Metropolitan. Then she finished 7th in the Caulfield Cup. She better on wet tracks, and is she chancy with 52, 80-1 with tab?
I do think she's better on wet track. She's okay on good track. She handles it, but I would have preferred to see a little bit of give. I thought she was okay in the Caulfield Cup, kind of ran on quite well, was beaten 6.7 lengths by INCENTIVISE, finished midfield. I think they'd be very happy with a top 10 finish. No queries on her at 2 miles either, so she'll run the trip. She's going to get a long way back, though. I think top 10 would be her absolute best.
Yeah, I'm pretty much in agreement with that. She'll top 10 will be a good effort.
Okay, future score. This is horse number 20, barrier 15, 51.5 kilos. Didn't get much luck in the Moonee Valley Gold Cup last start, sitting 3 wide. Basically, the trip had to go forward and was beaten off, but he's not going well enough, is he? He's not good enough.
Yeah, not going well enough, not good enough, even when he is going well.
Yeah, he might be fighting it out with Johnny Get Angry out the back.
Anthony saying, George Moore was a good jockey, not sure he's a good judge. He's backed half the field, laughing face. Yeah, but the ones he's backed are 150, 200
they're 200 to 1, so I don't think you can...
small outlay.
I don't think you can judge him too harshly on that.
Yeah. Okay, moving on to the last few runners. TRALEE Rose is our next one, horse number 21. Good run, second in the Bart Cummings. Then she went to the Geelong Cup. She won that race to earn entry here. Her only start at 3,200 metres was a 4th placing in the Adelaide Cup, but she did pull up with a poor post-race recovery and a cardiac issue. I've got her as a huge chance here. I love her setup. Not saying she's necessarily stamped herself as the winner, but I've got her as a big chance here. Completely forgive that Adelaide Cup, where she had the issues. She started $1.85 in that race. Adelaide Cup form translating to a Melbourne Cup. Yep. Okay. Not necessarily the go-to form reference, but like I said, I just like her. I like her setup here, and she very rarely runs a bad race. 51 kilos. She's a must include.
I think she's short enough in the market. You're right. She has had a really good prep. I thought she had every chance in the Bart Cummings behind Grand Promenade, and couldn't get past him. Whether she would maybe just needed one more run. The win in the Geelong Cup was good. They went out quite hard. It was a fast run race, which is what you want to see. I don't think she beat much there. Like, I'm still shocked that she's only just gotten over the top of Dr. Drill at 2,400 meters when that horse, is a miler basically and going no good. So, I think I just have to be against her off that. I think she's a chance and she's well weighted and she's got that kind of right profile for a Melbourne Cup. I'm just not sure if she's quite good enough.
Yeah, I think she's probably got to go in the exotics. I reckon she's a much better horse at Flemington. So she'll enjoy getting back there. But that win over Dr. Drill wasn't, as Hamish had just mentioned there, it's probably not the form to follow, but I'd have her in my exotics.
Yeah, fair point, Hamish. I just love this next comment I'm about to put up. George replying to Anthony saying, the same reason I took 500 to 1 about Luna Fox in the Australian Guineas. It was a ridiculous price for a horse that had great grand final form. George is
the oracle.
Terrific stuff. Terrific stuff. He says his main bet in the race is Very Elegant, he says. So there you go. Okay, let's move on to horse number 22, Floating Artist. Oh, God, here we go. Another one of these Ma Eustace horses over a staying distance that just continues to run well. He put 3 on the bounce. Then went to Caulfield in the Group 3 there behind Duas, and there was some conjecture whether Teo Nugent went a little bit slow on him. He ended up being beaten 0.3 lengths. And then he went to the Moonee Valley Gold Cup last start, and fair to say it was a moral beat.
Yep.
Yeah. I think he did go too slowly in the Coonji. He went, quite a few lengths below benchmark, and you could see the horses with the better turn of foot were just basically right alongside him at the 400 meters, and he was just out sprinted. Like you said, moral beaten last start in the Moonee Valley Cup. Should have won. Teo keeps the ride for the 3rd time, maybe just due to a lack of jockeys that can ride at 50 kilos, but good luck to him. Hopefully gets it right the 3rd time. I think the horse has a big chance down with 50 kilos. He's a very progressive stayer. I don't see 2 miles being an issue for him. I think the map's really good for him as well. I think he's probably favourite to get the 1-1 spot from barrier 10. $15 is another one that he's probably around his right price. I think he's the one of the lightweights one of the ones of the lightweights that I would want to be with, or at least save on.
Yeah, I like him as one of the value chances. I think down to 50 kilos, he's gonna get the right run, and he looks to be pretty progressive. And as we said, my Eustace usually get it right with these stayers. $15 looks pretty fair.
Yeah, won't win. Will run well, won't win. Dylan says if Floating Artist wins, you will not hear from me ever again. Yeah, I think at that price, I wouldn't be backing him to win. Again, he's a bit like PERSAN last year. I think, will run a good race, probably finishes top 6.
If you're giving Pondus such a big chance, he beat Pondus comfortably in the Moonee Valley Gold Cup and should have won. He should have beaten him home by a couple more lengths. So meets him better at 1.5 kilos better at the weights now as well. So if you're giving Pondus a good chance, I think you have to have a good look at Floating Artist. And I think both are decent chances, to be honest.
Yeah, I suppose difference being Pondus is twice his price and is now third up from a stable that certainly knows how to win this race. So, take your point though. I just think at $16, like I can't back him to win at $16. I can back Pondus to win at 30-1. That's how I would describe it. Okay, moving on to horse number 23, the winner of the Hotham Handicap, the Lexus on Saturday. He backs up quickly into the Cup here. Great House, C. Waller, Michael D. Gets in with 50 kilos. We've seen this proven as a reliable form reference for the Cup in recent years. If you think Prince of Iran, I think, did it. He also one of the years
he won the
Geelong Cup one year,
didn't he?
I think he won the Geelong Cup one year, and then he won the Lexus next year.
2018.
I was thinking Prince of Penzance, not Prince of Aaron.
Yeah, no, Prince of Aaron. I'm certain he won the Geelong Cup one year, and he won the Lexus another year.
Yeah.
So look, this is a reliable form reference, and if anyone can get this horse to back up, it'll be C. Waller. And his win in the Hotham was good, as we can see over the top here. And with 50 kilos, I think he has to be included as a chance, a top 5 chance, probably for me. It just frustrates me. Like, that was such a good win over 2,500 in the Lexus. It just frustrates me, this horse's preparation. We saw him win first up over 1,500. They then went to 1,800, dropped back to 1,500, up to 2,000. And now we're really seeing him kind of flourish over 2,300. He won at Newcastle, and then, of course, 2,500 in the Hotham. Your assessment of this horse's chances?
Yeah, I think he's a stayer. I was tipping him for a Sydney Cup early this year, and he never ended up going there. I thought, you go back 2 starts to his run in the Caulfield Cup, it was really good. He was beaten 5.5 by Incentivize. Obviously meets him 1.5 kilos better with that penalty. Probably made his run closer to the fence, which was, probably a length or so worse ground by that time of the day. Didn't beat much in the Hotham on Saturday, but it was a solidly run race. And if he handles that back up out of that, a couple of big efforts in the last couple of weeks, I think he's going to run well. The market generally likes the horse that wins the Hotham and backs up. I think it was last year was Ash Run won it and was very well supported in the market. So I can see a similar scenario with 50 kilos on the quick backup with Waller, but I'm just thinking he's probably not quite good enough to win.
Yeah, I think he'll obviously enjoy dropping a stack in weight here. But my concern is as Tim mentioned, the prep. It's been a pretty long prep. I think I was reading he's had 5 or 6 starts in the last 2 months of over 2,000 meters. And I don't know if he's sort of coming into this at the end of a long prep, if that's going to suit him.
On the 3-day backup, especially.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, and final horse is number 24, Sir Lucan, not sure. Irish horse having his first start in Australia for Gay Waterhouse, Adrian Bott, G Boss booked to ride, barrier 18, 50 kilos. Is a $26 chance with tab.com.au. I've got no real comments on this horse, Trent. So I suppose he brings the right profile as a 4-year-old colt from Europe with no weight on his back and a big race rider on board.
He does. He's a really tricky horse to line up because he doesn't have much exposed form. I've gone through all of his overseas runs, and from what I can seem to tell is that he's very inconsistent. I think he's got the talent when he puts it all together, but I think, and I was reading a few comments as well, he can be a bit of a head case and sweat up and not do everything right, which is obviously a query. Go back a few starts at Navan in a listed race. He beat a horse called Wordsworth, who's a handy stayer, and is coming off a $2.20 SP against Twilight Payment. He was beaten there, but and he's got form around the likes of Hurricane Lane, who's just run favourite in an arc as well. So if you could tie in some of his form lines at his best, I think he's a big chance in this. It's just whether he turns up at his best. I also think he's going to get a fair way back. From what I can kind of tell from his replays and having a look at his form, I don't think he has a lot of early speed. Barrier 18, I think they'll have to take their medicine and head back. But with 50 kilos, I definitely want to have something on him because he just fits the profile of the recent Melbourne Cup raiders of the Northern Hemisphere. 3-year-old, 4-year-old here, down in the weights, just managed to sneak in the field, and he's got heaps of upside. He's really progressive. So definitely having something on him at $26. He's just got too much X factor to lose on for mine.
Yeah, I like him. I think he profiles well for this race. I think that sort of lightly raced import sort of usually stacks up pretty well here. Obviously, the lightweight, as Trent mentioned, some of his best form over there is probably good enough here. Just whether he can find it. I'll probably back him to run top 5. He will definitely go in my exotics. I just think he profiles well.
I think he's one that could win, or he could run closer to last because he doesn't handle the occasion or the travel when he's not seasoned enough.
Yeah,
but if he turns up and he runs really well, I think he'll run a huge race.
Yep.
All right. Anthony's saying top 4, 1, 2, 3, 24. So he's got Sir Lucan in his top 4. Trent, I'll throw to you first. Winner, top 4, and how are you going to bet in the race?
Winner for mine is Incentivize. I think you might get closer to $3 at some point during the day. I've got no query with him at 2 miles. He was the strongest late in the Caulfield Cup off a good tempo. So happy to have him clearly on top. I think Sir Lucan's the danger at $26. Definitely want to back him. I want to save on Floating Artist. Probably just make him a neutral result. And of the roughies, I want to back Pondus and Selino in the top 10 kind of markets, just depending on what prices you get a little bit later. But yep, Incentivize on top, Sir Lucan the danger, Pondus and Selino the best roughies.
Billy?
Yeah. Incentivize for me. I think he'll probably win. Like Very Elegant, DELPHI, Sir Lucan, Twilight Payment, and Floating Artist can also run well in that sort of top 3, 4, 5. I think I'll be having a couple of exotics around those horses. And I'll probably I'll have something on Sir Lucan, DELPHI, maybe Very Elegant, a few small bets there. But if you can get 350-ish for Incentivize somehow on the day, I'd take that.
Load up.
Yeah.
350 is a great bet if you could find it.
Yeah. Somewhere around there.
For me, it's a case of head over heart. I'm hoping Spanish Mission wins because I've taken 30 to 1. But my head looking at this, logically, and the form is that you'd struggle to kind of tip him on top with the concerns leading into the race, especially if he's got to carry 57 kilos. It'd probably be a little bit different if he was coming into this with 50 or 51 and had 1 or 2 little queries over him like he has. I think it's a different scenario than him carrying 57 and having 1 or 2 queries. Am I right in saying that?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Definitely. So that's kind of weighing me down a little bit. But look, as I said, I hope he wins. But I think the most likely winner as it stands is Incentivize. I won't be diving into take $2.80. I think the value in the race is definitely DELPHI at 20 to 1. Forgive his Caulfield Cup run, going his form prior to that. I think he's a terrific chance at 20 to 1. I think Pondus at 30 to 1 also represents a bit of value. If there's going to be a complete blowout in the race, Could be something like Selino at 50 to 1. And I expect the likes of Great House to run well. So, yeah, I hope that kind of helps. Probably not. I'll be praying Spanish Mission wins. Long story short, I hope Spanish Mission wins.
Yeah, I think I agree. DELPHI's probably the best value in the race for mine, if you want to look at it that way.
Yep. Okay, we'll have a full runner-by-runner preview of the Cup up on racingbet.com.au, probably first thing tomorrow morning. Me and Trent have shared the duties there. And it's going to be all happening on the website for Tuesday. I think, Billy, you're going to be covering Sydney. Where are they racing? Randwick?
Yeah, Randwick. I'll have the full preview there, and there'll be some best bets around the grounds as well. So we'll try to find a few winners. Yep,
and I'll have Melbourne Cup Day covered from Flemington, so Trent can have a little breather before he takes back over for the Oaks and the McKinnon meetings to round out Melbourne Cup week. So we'll have a full race-by-race preview up, a full runner-by-runner written preview up of the Melbourne Cup. We'll have Sydney covered race-by-race. I think we'll have Ascot in WA covered race-by-race. So there's going to be plenty happening on racingbet.com.au. If you want to get involved in the premium section of the website, like we said, on our Discord channel, just head to racingbet.com.au, go to the premium tips page. It's all set out for you. You can join with a 7-day free trial. You can sign up for a week. You can sign up for a month. You can sign up for 6 months. There's been plenty of good things happening in the first couple of weeks since we've launched it. And hopefully we can keep throwing out a few long price winners early before, in the early markets across Melbourne Cup week. I think that'll do us, boys. Anything to add before we sign off?
I reckon that just about covers it. Can't wait. It's already been a huge derby day. Jump on the website, check out the runner-by-runner preview, and good luck, everyone.
Yeah, no, nothing to add. Good luck on the punt. Hopefully everyone backs a few winners, and Incentivise just bolts in.
Quick one before we go. Dylan saying, do you think we'll get a better price for DELPHI on the day?
What is he now? $21. I think that's... No, I don't think he will get too much of a better price. Just going off his SP. Yeah, off his SP against Incentivise last start will keep him somewhere in the market. I don't think you'll see 30s. So somewhere around that $21, $26 mark will be somewhere around his SP, I think.
Yep, agreed.
All right, beautiful. Thank you. Thank you both for joining. As I said, jump on the website. We'll have everything covered. There's going to be so much content going up over the next couple of days. There already is. Get involved in the premium section of our Discord channel, and looking forward to waking up and getting stuck into Melbourne Cup Day, 7:45 a.m. over here in Perth. It's going to be a ripper, and it's going to be a busy week. And hopefully, we've got plenty of winners for you on the website. All right, we'll be back on Thursday night, I think. Following Oaks Day, we'll have a preview looking at McKinnon Day to round out the week. So hopefully, you can join us then. In the meantime, good luck on Cup Day. Hope you back some winners, and we'll see you again on Thursday.